In this WrestleTalk news, a WrestleMania debut might have been accidentally leaked, an update on the status of Steve Austin ahead of WrestleMania, AEW pens a new deal with a new promotion, and more. Subscribe and enable notifications to always on for daily wrestling news videos so you can keep up to date with the most breaking of news, like this great new Keith Lee meme.
Support WrestleTalk!
Keith Lee looks like the kind of guy who would say, "I cordially accept your invitation," after being asked if he wants to go get food. At least that's what I hope he'd say when I ask him out for food. Keith, do you want to go out and get some food sometime? Anyway, here's some news. There's a lot of uncertainty surrounding WrestleMania 38, with Cody Rhodes, the details still being unsure as to what matches will open and main event shows, Cody Rhodes, whether Steve Austin will be wrestling or just doing a segment, Cody Rhodes, and other surprises in the works. Also Cody Rhodes. And there's another WrestleMania debut that might have been accidentally spoiled by the man himself. Gable Steveson hasn't been seen in WWE since SummerSlam, where he came out, showed off his Olympic gold medal, and then left. He was also drafted to Raw in the 2021 draft, but of course nothing has come of that whatsoever, and he can probably just show up on SmackDown because it's been too long since the draft. Steveson just won his second consecutive NCAA title, and announced his retirement from amateur wrestling shortly afterwards, leaving his shoes on the mat and telling ESPN that he was done, finishing with an 85-2 record in the sport. With the transition to professional wrestling seemingly the 21-year-old's next move, my god, he was born in the year 2000, we also now might know when we'll see Steveson, as he announced in a since-deleted tweet. Also, I will be at #WrestleMania. It's time. Steveson would quickly delete this, presumably to keep his appearance a surprise, which is a bit late now. He could also just be in attendance in the crowd, with WWE showing him on camera and saying, "Look, it's Gable Steveson," and nothing more coming of it. But with his very confident "it's time" with 2 exclamation marks after it, it could be hinting at a greater involvement in the show. But where would he slot into the show of shows, and on what night? We might not know that just now, but there might be some more information as to where some of the other announced matches and segments might be fitting together on the 2-night event. Reddit user Kermit, who the Reddit mods say have provided enough evidence to be considered a reliable insider source, has shone some light onto match order, with some very interesting news about night 1 specifically. In their post to the Squared Circle Reddit page, they mentioned that Cody Rhodes vs Seth Rollins is happening on night 2, Becky Lynch vs Bianca Belair is opening night 1, and that the Kevin Owens and Stone Cold segment will be closing night 1. Where this leaves Charlotte Flair vs Ronda Rousey, who knows, maybe they open night 2, but you would have thought with how much WWE bloody loved Ronda that she'd be in the main event of night 1 at least, but seemingly not. It also lends some credence to the theory that Stone Cold and Kevin Owens will end up having a match, because I don't think even WWE would main event a WrestleMania opening night with a talk show segment. Maybe they would. Maybe they think just a stunner is enough to end the show. Speaking of which, if it is just a talk show segment, then Stone Cold seems to be taking it awfully seriously, as according to Dave Meltzer on the Sunday Night's Main Event podcast, Steve Austin is reportedly in fantastic shape ahead of his WrestleMania appearance. Would be pretty weird to get into this great shape for a talk show. Yeah, but maybe he would. Meltzer added that there's gonna be a fight, there's gonna be a brawl, without a doubt. But would that be enough to main event the show? Or does it have to be a match? Would you be satisfied if it were just a brawl in a KO show segment? Or would you need a match for the main event of night 1? Let me know in the comments, I'm genuinely curious. Thank you for being awesome pledge hammers on Patreon, Spider-Man's greatest villain, Dr. Dark 7, and Starbucks Stephen Costa. You can get your own shout out and loads of extra bonus content by visiting us at patreon.com/WrestleTalk. But with this coming WrestleMania being the 3rd in a row to take place over 2 nights, it seems this trend is here to stay. With the first of the 3, WrestleMania 36, taking place with no fans, and last year's Mania taking place with limited capacity, it was unclear to WWE exactly how well tickets would sell for a 2-night WrestleMania. But this year, there are no restrictions, and according to Dave Meltzer on the Sunday Night Main Event podcast, this was the true test year to see if the 2-night formula would work. I think this was the first step to see will people buy, and they bought in good enough numbers. Did it sell out first day? Were the original numbers gigantic? No, but it's fine. It's a big stadium. It wasn't going to be easy to sell it out 2 straight days. I talked to people there and they certainly gave me the impression that the idea is 2 days going forward. A 2-day show definitely does beat a 1-day 7-hour show, but can you just do like a 3 to 4 hour show on one night? Just give us the best of the best and make a stacked card so it's like, I don't know, special? Because it sure doesn't feel all that special, especially if you watch the weekly shows. Mainly SmackDown. The build to WrestleMania this year has been let's call it subpar. And according to Fightful Select, this week's SmackDown sure wasn't helped along by some last-minute changes. According to the report, Ridge Holland was originally set to do a promo on the show, addressing Big E's neck injury, which probably would have been considerably more uncomfortable than what they actually did in showing his injury. This, of course, was instead changed to a Kofi Kingston vs. Ridge Holland singles match, where Ridge Holland won. Because of course he did. Also originally slated for the show was the 6-man tag match we were supposed to get the week prior of Drew McIntyre and the Viking Raiders versus Happy Corbin, Madcap Moss and Jinder Mahal. Instead, Shanky replaced Moss in the match for reasons unknown currently. Probably so they could continue the tag team dissension between Corbin and Moss, because WWE just can't help themselves when it comes to tag team dissension. But escaping SmackDown not long ago was Toni Storm, who quit WWE after reportedly suffering from burnout. After working a triple threat match with Sasha Banks and Charlotte Flair at a live event, Storm flew herself home and quit the company, which meant she managed to avoid being stuck in a feud with Charlotte Flair, where she got pied in the face multiple times and looked like a doofus. Her next move in the wrestling world is still up in the air, as she's still under her 90-day non-compete, though only for a little while longer, as if it was a 90-day non-compete and not a 30-day, it will be due to expire next week. But she has already made a boatload of money by launching an OnlyFans over the weekend. In the first hour after launching the page, Storm reportedly made over $10,000. Crikey. And after 11 hours, with over 1,700 people subscribing at a rate of $19.99, quick maths, that's over $33,000 in a day. Good for Toni. Glad she's landed on her feet. Though with Britt Baker originally tweeting a picture of Storm after her release teasing a match between the two, Toni Storm to AEW confirmed. Someone else who left WWE in 2021, though this one wasn't their choice, was former NXT North American champion Bronson Reed, who was released from the company in August last year after seemingly being set for a main roster call-up after taking part in some dark matches for the main roster. Reed was on an upward swing on the then black and gold brand, having won the North American title off Johnny Gargano in a cage match and was being positioned more heavily on the card. But in a recent interview on the Callahan Uncensored podcast, Reed, now going by Jonah, mentioned that he was promised even more than that in NXT. As for that company that shall not be named, I was destined to become the top guy in the black and gold brand. That's what was supposed to happen, that's what was promised. But as we all know, promises don't get kept a lot in professional wrestling. Since leaving WWE, Jonah has made himself a top guy in Impact Wrestling, so hopefully that upward trajectory can continue for him. Here's some weird news. Jonathan Gresham is now the champion of a promotion owned by Tony Khan and the champion of a promotion endorsed by WWE. Wild. At Progress Chapter 130, Gresham became the first ever American Progress World Champion by defeating Cara Noir, who had held on to the title for 26 months. But Gresham is also the Ring of Honor champion, so now he's Ring of Honor and Progress champion, and he won WXW 16 Karat Gold, which is another promotion endorsed by WWE, and he's wrestled in Impact, who worked with AEW. I think Jonathan Gresham is the Forbidden Door, and also one of the best wrestlers on the planet, and pretty please can we have a match against Bryan Danielson, please and thank you. But it might not be Gresham we'll be seeing in AEW before long, as on last week's episode there was a little tease for Bret Hart to be joining the promotion soon. The Young Bucks made a little best there is reference with FTR, who had just fired their previous manager Tully Blanchard. FTR, of course, being the biggest ultra fanboys of Bret Hart in existence, it would make a lot of sense to have Hart come in and manage the duo. With Hart already having some sort of history with AEW, being the one to unveil the AEW World title when it was originally revealed, there's already a precedent for Hart to appear in the company, and now there's more speculation-mania with a recent photo of Hart appearing on social media. It's no secret that Hart has suffered with health issues in the past, but going by this recent photo posted by him on Twitter, he looks to have slimmed down quite a bit. It would be unlike AEW to tease something and not follow through with it, so the Bucks' choice of words seem to be hinting to Bret Hart to AEW confirmed. And we may be seeing even more crossover in AEW, as AEW's Vice President of Talent Relations Christopher Daniels announced that AEW will be renewing their working relationship with DDT Pro Wrestling, a Japanese promotion known for its wacky hijinks and comedy. Don't be fooled though, they have some fantastic technical wrestlers on their roster too. As part of the deal, it was revealed that DDT wrestlers would be making appearances on AEW TV, so give me more Maki Ito please, and Chris Brooks. Love that man. There wasn't a start date announced for this crossover or a timeline of when we can expect to see these DDT stars come in, but you can assume it will probably be soon. They best be bringing the Iron Man Heavy Metalweight title with them too. And before we go today, y'all should go subscribe to partsFUNknown. We're really looking to hit 200,000 subscribers before WrestleMania, and we're currently just over 197,000. We're so close. There's loads of awesome content over there. Later today, there's going to be episode 2 of the Monday Night War between myself and Luke Owen as we play My GM mode on WWE 2K22. There's really awesome retrospective essays, 10% Olympus just did one on Ring of Honor. And there's, of course, Adam Blompier's lists. Check out his most recent one of the WrestleMania matches that didn't live up to the hype.
In professional wrestling, hype is everything. After all, what's more important, getting you to buy a ticket or delivering once the ticket's already been bought? Obviously, both are a little important, but if you've watched much or any WWE in the last few years, their answer definitely leans towards one way more than the other, much like someone with a crutch being kicked out from under them leans one way more than the other.